The longer we get by with an additional week of okay weather, better we are.
If it could stay just like this through Flakesgiving, I'd be tickled.
Oh, yeah. Man, I can get a lot of ties planted and fencing done and stuff, so be good. I like fall. Fall's the time we get to do some of the work that you just don't have time to do.
Ah, I know what you're saying.
No, you don't. You don't have any clue what I'm saying.
The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill, next to the Roadside Event Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat, it's where it's at.
526, Mark and Paul checking in. Thursday, 24th of October, 47 degrees. Little bit of chill in the air, and you can smell a little wood smoke driving in and coming into work. Had a great day yesterday at Godfather's Pizza. A couple of things I liked is both Teresa and Jack with Godfather's. Jack's been with them 40 years now, and I was telling somebody yesterday, we've known these people so long. We did remotes up here when there was a concert coming to town, and the opening act for the Judds was a guy named Garth Brooks.
Yeah, nobody knew who he was. Who's Garth?
Yeah, at the time, nobody knew. Up there in our tuxedos and doing that.
Well, in the last couple years, we've had a couple that has gone on the trip, and their name was Garth and Sandy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So,
and heard Teresa talking to somebody about the pizza. Some folks that haven't eaten there much, talking about how good the pizza was, and she talked about, well, they use fresh ingredients, and that's why the pizza is always good. And one of the things Paul talked about during the remote yesterday, if you order a pizza from Godfather's delivered, 45 minutes, 90% of them are out and delivered in 45 minutes. You get your super peak times, obviously, where it's super busy. Also, on super peak times on Friday and Saturday, do not try and drive behind the Godfather's building because cars are flying in and out of there. Talked to several people yesterday. Oh my God, I set my alarm for 5:20. I said, then you are missing out on 20 great minutes of music. I got a comment from Scott this morning, listening in Wyoming. Hitting it out of the park today, Wilson. Quality stuff. Also, one of my Facebook friends, listeners, Darlene, I don't know if we've ever played a Neil Diamond song when she didn't hear it, was listening, sent me a message.
And that's the one you play the most. That's the most popular Neil Diamond song. Everybody sings it at stadiums.
Oh, it's big at Fenway Park, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they just, everybody plays that one. I could go into my music knowledge about Neil Diamond and some of his great hits on the flip side of different albums, but see, I want somebody sitting next to me on the airplane.
And I'll have somebody sitting next to me.
The hell will. It rained at the ranch last night.
Yeah, I had rain too.
Yeah, we got, I don't know where that came from because I didn't think yesterday.
Not in the forecast.
And I'm sitting down on the couch last night about 8 o'clock and I'm looking at my phone and radar pops up and I see some showers, and I checked the forecast at that. It said 80% chance last night. There was no 80% when we left, but...
And that's something I always talk to people about, too. So I don't know where the rain came from, because we give the forecast, 20 times a morning. So we have a rough idea of what the experts are thinking is going to happen.
That's all right. It was good.
Yeah.
It's good rain. Good to have it before you go into winter. Better rain than snow.
Yeah.
Better rain than snow. Good for me. Keep the dust down. I'm going to ship calves this week and stuff, and the ones you keep, you put in a corral. You don't want a lot of dust. Dust is hard on them, and so it'll help with the dust problems, and that kind of thing. Helps with fires, keeps the fire danger down. In fact, I think this weekend is. This weekend's the opening of the big game season. This weekend, so. Well, you'll be able to tell today because it's Thursday. And if it opens Sunday or Saturday, everybody will leave Thursday.
Well, they're out driving around drinking Rainier scouting.
Yeah, that's right. Scouting. Yeah.
Also, you can tell if you drive by the shooting range out there in the BLM land at 17 Mile. I think if America ever gets invaded, we'll be one of the last spots because they've scouted out there at 17 Mile and see how people go through ammo and shoot.
Yeah. Well, we might not be one of the last spots, but we're going to be one of the last ones they take. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
I would agree with that.
Yep. In fact, I was up there today filling up with gas. I came in the other way, came down 27th. Stopped up there at the Cenex station and there was somebody out there that was walking along the road kind of back behind the gas station there, and they were kind of giving me the eye a little bit. And I thought, while I'm sitting here, so I got the old Ruger 6-shooter out and set her right there on top of the old, and I thought, okay, this can go two ways. You can either just move on to that cardboard complex down the road, or you can come up and start nosing around, but I'm just saying.
Let me retell the story of a conversation I had with the old golf pro out at Prior Creek, and we were talking about firearms and safety, and he said, do you carry a gun? I said, well, I can, and this was before the law changed. Now anybody can carry a gun. You just have to know the rules where you can't have one. And he says, Mark, it looks to me like you can handle yourself. And I said, Dave, you know what? You and me get sideways over something in a bar and we go outside. I like my chances. You and me get sideways over something in a bar and I go outside and it's you and 5 of your friends. I got news, buddy. I've taken my last ass whooping. And it's been a long time. I don't know what the number of concealed carry permits is for Yellowstone County. I know it's higher per capita, and it's even higher with people who just have guns in the pickup because you can here.
Oh, yeah.
So
well, and you don't need a permit anymore to carry.
No.
You can just carry one right on your side if you want. Remember, the chief came in that day. He said, "There's nothing against the law. You can carry a pistol."
Oh, it's Kenny Price who said, "I don't take no lip with this cannon on my hip."
Is that what Kenny Price said? There was no one at the remote yesterday that wanted seat 2C if they win the trip. No one.
There was a couple.
No one. Kenny Price. Half the people listening don't even know who in the hell Kenny Price is.
They don't need to. That's why I'm here. Message from somebody in law enforcement. An armed society is a polite society. That's a fact.
Yeah. As long as you tell police you have something, if they pull you over, they have no problem with that.
That's right.
Get your get registration, proof of insurance out. Okay, I got a pistol in there. That's all right, no problem. Just leave it there, and great. And they're telling everybody all the time, don't leave firearms in your vehicles because they get stolen. Well, yeah, they get stolen if you're not there. But if you're there, nothing there is going to get stolen.
Exactly right.
None of your family's going to be hurt. Your vehicle's not going to be stolen. So, and we will only be out one more time, folks.
That's right.
One more time next week. So if you're going to qualify, you either have to show up next week or you got to get through on the air when we take qualifiers. So I got to find out how many qualifiers we're up to, and so we can kind of gauge and figure out how many we can take.
Well, that's funny. I appreciate your Boone County reference with Kenny Price. Is seat 2C still open? You bet it is, buddy.
Oh, God.
It's like selling a used car. I only need one taker for the seat, and we're going to have a good time.
I talked to a couple yesterday, and they went on the trip last year with us, and they're trying to win it because they're not going to go this year. But this year they went to Nashville.
Right.
And
wrong one.
They went to Nashville for a week.
I don't want.
And they said we were shocked because they said we could have went on the Flakes trip for what it cost us just to go to Nashville for a week.
I've talked to people that have gone to Nashville now with all the celebrity bars and everything, and they're calling it Nash Vegas. It's pricey.
Their room, nothing. I mean, it was nice, but their room was $580 a night.
Oh, geez.
So there's $580 times 7.
Right.
You're at $4,000.
Right.
You got to fly there. That's probably a $500 ticket for each one. Now you're at $5,000 already for the week. You haven't eaten or seen anything or drank a beer yet.
And you have to pay for all that out of pocket.
Yes. They said we could have gone on a Flakes trip for what we spent there.
And stayed in a much nicer place.
Oh, everything taken care of.
Yeah.
Have lobster if you want.
Right.
Drink as many beers as you want. Margaritas, whatever. Water sports, entertainment at night, all that kind of stuff. The breakfast alone that you can have, which is my favorite meal of the day down there, the breakfast alone would cost you $40 in Nashville. So it's a great value. Great deal. Great value.
A quick note for travelers going for the first time. When Paul is standing there watching his omelet get made, don't talk to him. That's his special time.
It is. It's my time. It's my time.
Paul doesn't get time like that at home.
I forge a bond and a special relationship with my omelet maker.
You do.
And I take dollar bills with me every day, and they see me. And what, boy, when they see you coming, then they give you extra tomatoes and extra cheese and that kind of stuff, you know.
Right.
And one day I had poached eggs, and he didn't like the one. He didn't like the way the one egg turned out. He threw it out. I fix you another.
Right.
He fixed me a different one. So yeah, I enjoy those big breakfasts because I never get them.
No.
I never ever get a big breakfast.
Paul does not waste time with food back
That's
here in
not
Montana.
true. I eat. Just like everybody else, I have to eat. I need fuel. It's just that my vehicle gets better mileage than most people's.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready for a spooktacular October at the Roadside Event Center. Friday, October 11th, join them for Bingo, a fundraiser for Pack the Place in Pink. Get tickets now for Dueling Pianos on Friday and Saturday, October 18th and 19th. And plan for a Halloween weekend filled with fun. The Blue Cat has fantastic food and drinks. Sushi and sliders on Sundays, Italian night Mondays, prime rib Saturdays, and loaded Bloody Marys all weekend. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill, Northern Avenue in Huntley, just 9 miles east of the Metro Park exit.
Speaking of eating, last night Donald Trump had a huge rally down in, I think it was Georgia, someplace like that last night. And he took Kennedy with him again. And even Kennedy, who was running for president on the Democratic and Libertarian kind of independent sides, one of the most famous Democrats, if not the most famous Democrat liberal family in America ever,
True.
are the Kennedys.
Right.
Not supporting the Democrat Party, supporting President Trump. That's got to tell you something right there. But last night, he's talking about how Trump's going to make America great again. But he said also Donald Trump is very concerned, and that's why he's got Kennedy on the ticket too, because Kennedy wants to make America healthy again.
Okay.
That's his big thing. He was one of the opponents of mandatory COVID vaccines getting shot into people and all this kind of stuff. But last night, he gave some very interesting facts about America, and it's something that we talk about quite a bit. He said when his uncle was president, and of course that was John F. Kennedy, when he was president, he was 10. He was 10 years old at the time. And he said, when I was 10, he said that only about, if I can remember this right, only about 3% of America at the time had a chronic illness or a chronic disease. Now it's 60%.
Wow.
He talked about the obesity rates. He said obesity in America in like 1962 was less than 10%. Now it's 70% overweight or obese. He talked about that. He said also in those years when he was 10, which was probably early 60s, that a doctor or pediatrician would probably once or twice in their career encounter a child that had childhood diabetes. He said now 50% of the kids have it. I know, Mark. I did the same thing. I shook my head. And the more advanced, the more knowledgeable we are, the more we know about food and nutrition, and look what we've done to ourselves. And he said, I'm going to work with President Trump. We need to make America healthy again. Folks, imagine this. You know how expensive Medicare and Medicaid is and how much it costs our government? Just think what would happen if we all took better care of ourselves and we're all healthier. Just think of the savings that we would encounter. I'm not so sure there's one party out there that wants us healthy. If we're reliant on the government, reliant for medical care and their treatment and their insurance, they got us. I don't think they give a rat's ass if you're healthy or not. That they probably figure, look, the worse shape you are, the worse condition you are, the more reliant you are on us, and we've got you.
And how much of our money goes to pharmaceuticals and the money that those guys are making?
Unbelievable. He wants to be a health czar for former President Trump should he win the election. And I'm hoping he does, because I know what we're going to get from the other one. It's going to be ugly. But he made some real great points last night. And look, folks, look how Donald Trump, this is the one thing I like about him. And I've always said this, and other people believe it too. A good idea is a good idea. And it doesn't matter where it comes from. It doesn't matter. If it's a great idea, you do it. building my building out there, we had guys that were in construction and would say, hey, well, let's do it like this. And I thought, that's a great idea.
That's right.
While we're doing it, let's do it this way.
Take your ego out of it. A good idea is a good idea no matter who says it.
And he likes to put the best people in. So here you have a Kennedy from the most famous liberal Democrat family in America, and Trump is embracing his vision for health in America. Loves it. The guy's got some great ideas here. So he wants to use him. You won't find that on the other side. It is D all the way.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's got to be D or nothing. Look how he's taken on Elon Musk. Elon Musk was a liberal, crazy nut job for a long time of his life. But Elon Musk is big on one thing. Well, a couple things. Freedom of speech. That's why he took over Twitter, now X. Freedom of speech. He's trying to protect it. They're trying to take it away. Look what the White House did with Facebook and all those, making them take down information about COVID and things. Folks, that's the party you're voting for.
And that just got glossed over.
Yes.
Like it didn't even happen.
Yes. Plus, he's a billion-dollar businessman, and he wants to look into the efficiency of government. He wants to look into every single budget in government and run an efficiency test on it. Donald Trump says, you know what? That's a great idea. We are wasting so much money in this country, so he brings him on board. What has Kamala done? Who's she bringing on board? We have Democrats, including your own Senator John Tester, that won't even endorse her. Won't even endorse her publicly. The woman has never got a vote. She never got a vote in the last primary when she ran for president. She was the first one out.
Right.
She was, keep in mind, she's vice president. She was selected to be vice president. She wasn't elected. They selected her. This after she ruined Joe Biden at the debate. He was a racist, sexist pig, and he selected her. And we know why. So then they talk about how competent, how stable, how brilliant Joe Biden is, and they coup and run him out, and then they select her. They had to. She was selected again. She hasn't received one vote of confidence from Americans yet, and look where she's at.
And if she was on the other ticket, that would be news, Paul.
But Trump wants to put in good people to get things done for America, folks. He just does. He's going to clean house. The CIA and the FBI are crooked as hell. The current administration has used those government agencies to wipe out any political opponent. And yet, look what the Democrats talk about. Trump's going to be a dictator and he's going to throw people in jail. The Democrats are the ones that are doing it. Throw people in jail. You've been trying to throw his generals in jail, his former staff members in jail, Trump's attorneys in jail, Trump in jail. You're trying to jail all of your political opponents, and look what they talk about. So don't talk to me. I don't talk to me about anything but politics. If you're a liberal nut job, anything, I'll talk to you about anything you want, but don't talk to me about politics because you're not going to like what I say.
Well, and it's going to ruin a friendship.
That's right. So don't talk to me.
Hey, I tell Paul, I got a guy I grew up with in Great Falls, lives in Missoula. We vote different. You cannot talk reasonably to him about politics.
No. And see, we know that, but they don't.
No, and they don't care.
They bring it up.
Right.
We don't. We try to save relationships. We try to save friendships. You try to avoid those kind of conversations. They don't. They're in your freaking face.
We have not talked politics in quite a while. I was over there for Pink and Sheryl Crow, and he and I were having lunch, and he said something to the effect of, well, if I was done every day at 10 o'clock in the morning, I said, I know a guy that's done every day at 10 o'clock in the morning and would trade you for the taxpayers to pay me for the rest of my life. He didn't want to talk anymore after that.
Yeah. You just got to avoid it.
You do.
So vote with your pen. Talk with your pen, folks. Get those votes in early.
Now, don't vote with the pen that Paul was driving with yesterday because you're going to kill 7 people. That goggle thing yesterday, and everybody that came in talked about it. That was so neat to see. And after using the goggles, we thought it was a great idea before we were on board. And now that we've seen them, what a fantastic tool that's going to be.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be great for kids. Showing them. Letting them in. And plus, it's techie.
Yeah.
They like that kind of stuff. And, Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was a pretty good deal. I'm glad. It's being well received. They can use those in all kinds of things. Drivers training classes if they want. I mean, they can use them everywhere. So pretty good thing. Here's a teacher down in Louisiana. She's filed suit against Louisiana because they passed a new law that requires the 10 Commandments be displayed in the classrooms. They don't have to teach religion. They don't have to do any of that. Just display them in the classrooms. I bet you I can guess the background of this teacher.
I would agree that you can.
No doubt in my mind. If she's a history teacher or a government teacher, I'm sure she does not teach her kids that our country was based and founded on Judeo-Christian principles. That's why they mention God so much in all of our important documents. I'm sure we can, but their legislator passed it, so it's going to be hard because it was legally done. Legally done. The one thing that these Democrats don't understand is they're telling America all these things that they know Trump is going to do. They don't have any idea what he's going to do. They don't. They're lying. They don't know. Plus, here's the thing, folks. All these things they're saying he's going to do and all these images of Donald Trump that they portray, America had Donald Trump for 4 years already. They already know it's all a lie, fake. It's a sales job. They all know it because we've had former President Trump for 4 years. We know what he did. He didn't get us in wars like Biden and Harris did.
On the contrary, he had everything calmed down around the entire world.
Around the world. We know what the border was like. We know what the economy was like. We know what your wealth was doing. We know how it was to buy a house. We knew what the price of gasoline was. We knew what groceries were. We know we had 4 years of that. We already know what he'll do and what it was like. We all know that. That's the problem they have. Travel stagnated a little bit in September and October around the country. That's because inflation is eating up people's dollars, folks, from Biden and Harris. You know what you're going to get with them.
That's right.
And I'll bet that teacher in Louisiana, she probably doesn't teach the kids about inflation and how it happens. Government money. Government money. Boeing contractors and machinists yesterday turned down their 35% pay raise and $7,000 bonus.
What the hell do you want? Good Lord.
Hold you hostage. Hold you hostage. Awful. Awful what they do. Headline in the paper today, cities grappling with shelter issues as transients gather near the skateboard park to attract overnight campers. And there's all kind of tents and cardboard houses and blankets and carts and everything down there. They're setting up everywhere, folks. And once you let them go, once they establish a neighborhood or a precedent.
You got to nip that in the bud. Look at the trouble that both Missoula and Bozeman are having right now, having to pass ordinances.
Move on. Head south for the winter. As cold weather looms, leaders are struggling to find solutions. A crowd of 50 gathered at the library Tuesday afternoon for a discussion about it. Yeah, half of the 50 were probably homeless who were in there.
Yeah.
They camp under the library canopy there, right outside, right out front.
They do.
They said the city lacks a true low-barrier shelter where anyone can stay without being sober or meeting other requirements if they don't pose an imminent safety risk. They have a shelter here, the Crisis Center, and people can stay for 23 hours and 59 minutes. And they can receive therapeutic crisis stabilization for mental health, substance use, or social service needs, regardless of their ability to pay. But it's just a revolving door. They got to do something.
Well, and, a big part of what you said there, too, is the problem, low barrier, meaning somebody can be drunk or high and still stay.
Get ready for a spooktacular October at the Roadside Event Center. Friday, October 11th, join them for Bingo, a fundraiser for Pack the Place in Pink. Get tickets now for Dueling Pianos on Friday and Saturday, October 18th and 19th. And plan for a Halloween weekend filled with fun. The Blue Cat has fantastic food and drinks. Sushi and sliders on Sundays, Italian night Mondays, prime rib Saturdays, and loaded Bloody Marys all weekend. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill, Northern Avenue in Huntley, just 9 miles east of the Metro Park exit.
Here's something that's never brought up at the meeting that I'll bring up because, folks, I'm that kind of guy that says things that people were thinking and never say. How can these people who are broke, who are homeless, who are living in poverty and have nothing be overweight? In the 30s, during the Depression, when people were poor and starving, did you see them? Did you see what they looked like? They barely had a shirt on their back, and they weighed 130 pounds soaking wet. I'm just saying. Did you see the lady yesterday up when we went up to Godfather's? She had like 3 shopping carts full of all of her lifelong belongings on the side of the street up there. She was sitting by that park bench up there.
She lives by Wells Fargo.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, she's there every day.
Well, that's good. She can make her deposit every day.
Yeah.
And we've talked to people before. Half the people choose to live their life like that.
Yeah.
They want to live their life like that. They want no other life but that. Ask any one of those people. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you an apartment. We're going to give you an apartment building. And we found a job. You're required to be there at 7:30 every morning.
And be sober.
Monday through Friday. You have to work until 5:30 at night. You're allowed to pick up any overtime that you want at that facility. We're going to charge you rent. We'll give you a lower rent at $350 a month. You have to take care of the apartment, that kind of stuff. We're going to do that for you. They are not going to want that.
No.
Not going to work from 7:30 to 5:30 at night and do that. Screw you. I'll live out here on the street. I'll panhandle. I don't have to do a damn thing. I can go in, get a bottle of hard top or whatever I want. How many people will do that? How many are going to do that if you actually gave them that opportunity? Not very many.
Not many, no.
They're choosing this. I want to do my drugs. I want to drink. I want to live on the street. I've got my little network of friends who also live in the street. I'm not going to want to do that. Old saying, you can't help those who don't want to help themselves.
Fact.
And, of course, folks, so this all cost taxpayers, too. Montana Rescue Mission this year, they got a $750,000 federal grant to provide emergency shelter. Federal grant. You know what federal grants are? Your tax dollars. Your tax dollars. Of which, by the way, all this stuff that they get, they don't have to pay tax on.
No.
You win the Flakes trip, you got to pay tax on it.
That's right.
You get free shelter, free meals, free housing, all that. You don't have to pay tax on any of it.
Free food stamps.
If they have an addiction, you can't be addicted on something unless you have money to buy what you are addicted to. So it's a problem, and it's going to grow unless we deal with it because we keep sweeping it under the rug. No doubt about it. Big picture in the paper today, Giving with Heart. Heart and Soul Run sponsors, the publisher of the Billings Gazette, somebody from the hospital, and Christy Drake from TrailNet presented $3,000 to the YMCA from the Heart and Soul Run. Big whoop-de-doo. Gave him a picture, all that kind of stuff, which is great. I'm glad they're helping. We gave money for goggles and all kinds of stuff, but folks, we checked the wrong oval.
We checked the wrong oval. We also don't send out press releases.
No.
Paul and I were talking this morning about some of our Facebook friends who post just pictures of themselves every day. You got to self-promote if that's what you want to do.
We don't do that.
That's not the reason we're doing it.
We're doing it for good things, and if they don't like you, they don't like you. I mean, that's okay. That's what the buttons are for, folks.
You're going to find this hard to believe, folks, but there are some other people in media who don't think Paul and I are swell.
Or funny.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's okay. That's what's nice. You got choices.
Yeah.
You know, you have choices. Boy, they sure made a big thing yesterday about that grizzly bear dying.
I saw a thing on Facebook this morning calling it world famous Bear 399.
Yeah.
No.
It wasn't world famous.
No.
Down in Grand Teton, struck and killed by a vehicle. It was beloved by nature photographers and wildlife enthusiasts. The bear was 28, the oldest reproducing female grizzly in Yellowstone. You know, maybe she wanted to go. Maybe she got sick and tired of you guys chasing her around all the time, taking pictures and all this. You know what? She just had it.
God.
What was it? The Man? Was it in The Man from Snowy River or something where that guy worked for that ranch for all those years, doing nothing but fencing. Finally, one day, he just had it, and he got on his horse, and he ran down the hill as fast as he can and went over the cliff.
There you go.
Maybe Grizzly Bear 399 gave all of you people chasing her the finger and just jumped out in front of a car. You've been driving her crazy. Leave these animals alone.
Mm-hmm.
She had a cub, and they're trying to find the whereabouts of the cub. Leave the cub alone.
Mm-hmm.
Each spring, wildlife enthusiasts, we know what they are. They're the ones that, like myself yesterday, could not do that puzzle with the crayon.
Mm-hmm.
Each year, they would eagerly await the emergence of her from her den. They even knew where she denned up to see how many cubs she had birthed. She was around Grand Teton. She had 18 no cubs and 8 litters over the years. Weighed 400 pounds. Oh, yeah? How much do you environmental enthusiasts weigh? You're giving us her weight.
Some of you weigh more than the bear.
Yeah, why don't you give us your weight? Poor thing. Poor woman. They chased her around, followed her around. And you know what? It's your fault. It's these people's fault, these wildlife enthusiasts and photographers, that are some of the reasons why other people then are attacked and gored or mauled by animals, because you portray these wild animals as human friendly.
Mm-hmm.
As, look, if you just understand them and be nice to them, they will be able to feel the love coming from you, and in return, they will share their love with you. And what they do is they stick a horn up your ass, and you go to the hospital.
Or worse.
Or worse.
Go watch the documentary about Timothy Treadwell on YouTube, the guy that called himself the Grizzly Man.
Exactly.
And lived with the bears, and we really connect, and I watched him catch salmon in the river. And then there's video of the bear that ate him.
Right. Exactly. Poor thing. You want another one? You want another story like that? Here's another one today. Headline, AP. Should elephants have the same rights as people? A Colorado court may decide that. Oh, yeah. Listen to this.
Oh, my God.
Missy, Kimba, Lucky Lulu, and Jambo have all lived in Colorado Springs for decades in an elephant exhibit. Animal rights group trying to release the elephants from what they said is a prison for these animals. Highest court's going to hear arguments today on whether the older African female elephants should be legally able to challenge their captivity. I wonder if they've retained an attorney. They're suffering immensely. Folks, I don't like it either. Elephants are such a majestic animal. I love elephants. I don't like the fact that they bring them over here and pen them up, and I don't like that. I don't like it either. But the issue for them in Colorado is whether elephants are considered people under the law, therefore able to pursue the petition of habeas corpus challenging their detention. A New York ruling gave rights to elephants. The Cheyenne Mountain Zoo said moving the elephants and placing them with new animals would be cruel, potentially causing them stress. It would be. It would probably kill them now that we have habituated them and they have assimilated to humans and interaction, got their feed. If they release them over there, the lions would eat them. They would attack them. Their natural instincts are gone. They would devour them. Awful. I love elephants too. I always have, and I feel sorry for them. But how about this then? You don't bring any more in.
Right.
You could do that unless one is born in captivity under those circumstances that you have, because that would be their element. That would be their life. It would be what they're accustomed to and used to. They're not born in the wild. They're born in captivity. It would be different. It'd be different. Just like there's a difference between wolves and coyotes being born out there and people that have dogs and they're born domestically. They're just different. That would be different. But you can't take these animals and turn them back. They wouldn't survive. Hell, we got humans. I had kids like that. Got out of high school and you turned them loose and everything broke loose and everything went to hell. I've told numerous stories about it, Wilson.
I know. I was there.
And they have the ability to try to rationally think. But animals, they can't do that. You can't turn them back out in there. They would never survive. They would never survive outside of the confines of their home now. But they're going to have a court trial on that in Colorado to see if they have the same rights as adults do, humans down there in Colorado. And if you're going to do it, just don't bring any more in. Leave them over there.
Right.
Leave them over there. We don't bring in Komodo dragons and turn them loose in the United States. They're just not part of our geography and our nature population. They just aren't. Leave them over there. Tigers, lions, all that kind of of stuff. Don't bring them in. It's funny, they don't want to bring in elephants, but they'll bring in all kinds of other stuff across our border, won't they?
Yeah.
But elephants are just... Mark and I rode an elephant. Mm-hmm. Mark was overwhelmed by the texture of all the hair on the back of the elephant. He said, "Oh, God, feel this?" I said, "What do you think? I've been dealing with this for 30 years. Yeah, we rode an elephant down there at the shrine. Remember that? A circus down there.
Yep.
And got on top of an elephant. But we just do so many stupid things. And everybody always says, "God, the world's going nuts, going crazy." It's getting crazier by the day. It is. And we have no one to blame but ourselves. You know, we do it. Oh, speaking of elephants, Tarzan died.
Saw that.
Ron Ely, the actor who played Tarzan back in the 60s in the NBC series Tarzan, died in Los Alamos, California, 86. Now, he's not probably the most famous one. Johnny Weissmuller was, the Olympic swimmer. He's probably the most famous. Mm-hmm. But, and did you see how he died?
No.
Well, he died probably of heartbreak because his wife was stabbed to death in their home by their 30-year-old son.
Oh, geez.
Years ago. And then the police, when they approached him, he challenged them, and he was shot and killed by police. So he had a double tragedy in his life. Probably died of a broken heart, I'm sure. And he met her when he was hosting the Miss America pageant, and she was Miss Florida. So, and they married in 1984, but 86, Tarzan had some kids. Of course, when you're Tarzan, you know when it was time for dinner, and the kids were outside playing.
Uh-huh.
And out in the neighborhood, Mark, and you didn't know where they were.
Uh-huh.
You know how they used to call them?
No, Paul, tell
My
me.
dad used to whistle, stuff like that. Not Tarzan.
Really?
Tarzan used to go, "Ah!" And the kids automatically knew it was time for dinner, Mark.
I knew that.
So, yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there. See, if you sit in seat 1C, you'll get some of that from me.
Total entertainment, no matter where you sit on our flight.
That's right.
We'll get rolling here. First news coming up 20 after 6.
The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill. Next to the Roadside Event Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat. It's where it's at.